So here we are in yet another land use. Really, it's more of a water use because we're talking about fish. And on this side, we're looking at how fish are overused or overfished in the wild and how we can grow them in farms or aquaculture for our use. And in this unit, I really feel that both methods can be sustainable and both methods can be unsustainable and maybe not the best. So we are going to take a look at both. And however, this unit doesn't really go into the like details of the method, so we will do that in class if we haven't already. First up, we're going to talk about overfishing. One of the best examples is this cod because it's been studied a lot and it's delicious. But so the amount of cod that has been caught, you can see in the 1970s, it really peaked, but then it crashed. So when you overfish, stocks go down and you have this much smaller population. And so even though you have the same technologies, you're catching less. And if you can look in this, if you look in this graph on the left there, you can see just that happening. Now on the right there, you can also see that as I'm increasing my catch, the number of species that I'm actually catching goes down, which shows us that my species density, or like the number of species or species richness, is actually going down. And so the more you overfish, the more depleted your stock gets of some species. And as those species get depleted, right, there's less and less of them to actually catch. And this can be super detrimental to people who depend on this for a living, on these small scale fishermen or fisher people.
So, aquaculture is another form of agriculture, only this time we're growing fish. And aquaculture is great because, right, it's reducing the amount of overharvesting of our oceans. And so um, that's not good. but, aquaculture also obviously has its issues. But basically, aquatic species are raised in some sort of pen or pond or even nets. So, depending on what you're growing, so there's fish, mollusks. So, if you're looking at oysters and clams, mussels, aquatic plants. So, your seaweed that you're eating, crustaceans, shrimp, all of these things that we eat that come from the water, um, we can we can culture. And so aquaculture is booming right now, and obviously it's the most widespread in Asia because the Asian diet is very, very fish heavy. There are lots of benefits, lots of drawbacks. Um, there's a reliable protein source if we are growing fish or really aquatic life. It's sustainable mostly. It reduces fishing pressure. It's energy efficient sometimes. and it also requires relatively small areas of land and water. Whereas lots of diseases can occur. It can require antibiotics or other diseases like sea lice can occur when you have organisms in high densities. The farm fish could escape, so then you have issues with wild fish, whether they're breeding with wild fish or introducing their disease to the wild fish. So that's not good. and also, a lot of times in aquaculture, you're feeding the organisms at different trophic levels than they're usually consuming in the wild. So you end up with much different product. And then you also have this large amount of waste that can either pollute nearby waters or just have to be dealt with in some way and treated.